With this World Cup currently taking our focus and currently taking our attention, it felt like a nice little mini breakaway to actually see our football club playing a game again. We played against Aston Villa today in Abu Dhabi in a pre-season friendly in the Challenge Cup, and unfortunately, Graham Potter's Chelsea team picks off where they left off from by picking up yet again another defeat. Now, for some, this could be like a sign of bad things to come in the future. Under Graham Potter, a lot of the fan base isn't feeling as confident at this point in time. But to be honest with you, I want to review the game. I want to give you guys an open account of how things actually went down. And we have to start off by discussing the context. Essentially, this was a Chelsea PL2 team playing against an Aston Villa team that had a ton of experienced players on the field, from your Kamaras, your Ings, your Mings, your McGuinnesses, Baileys, etc, etc. And to be honest with you, I thought these kids put on a fantastic show. I thought they gave a very good account of themselves, and a lot of times we were in control against Aston Villa. Of course, they have the qualities to create danger against us. It was a very young and inexperienced team as well too, but my lord, we produced a lot of talent at this football club. And if you were just like a casual football fan that had no clue what this game was about, what was going on, or who any of the players were playing for each team, you never would have thought that we had a team full of youngsters and teenagers. So, there was a lot of positives to take from this game. And for me, even though we lost, the main thing to take is who are some of these young stars that can contribute to our season when the season does pick up again. In this match review, I want to discuss some of the performances of some of the star guys that stood out today for me. So I hope you guys definitely enjoyed today's video. Smash the like button, get involved in the comments, and getting straight into things. Today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. Using OneFootball, we can see the match stats and events that took place after that 1-0 defeat to Aston Villa. As you can see, all the events are listed right here, as well as key stats from the game. So we're seeing that possession was fairly even, 50-50 each. We were more successful in our duels won. Shots, 11 each, but Aston Villa had more on target compared to us, plus a lot more useful stats and features to you guys. But before I go on, make sure you guys download OneFootball to take part in the special World Cup quiz. You'll find the quiz in the profile section. Click on that, you guys, and as you guys can see here, test out your World Cup knowledge. Up to 300,000 members have taken part in the game. Don't miss out and enjoy those World Cup vibes. So make sure you guys download OneFootball. You'll find a link below in the description. Now we start things off, and the lineup started off as a 4-3-3. Now, one thing I'm going to constantly reiterate during my match reviews is the fact that under Graham Potter, this is a manager that believes in formation flexibility. So you have a formation in the build-up phase. You have another formation defending off the ball and another formation attacking. Because when you watch our games, we regularly morph into a back three team, and then we morph into a 4-2-3-1, and then we morph into a 4-3-3. So, we've seen how Brighton have benefited and prospered from having this type of tactical invention in their game as well too. And it does tell you that with more time and more patience, and of course new signings and little details, there is something to come from this football, and it just needs time, and that's something we have to give because we can't do anything else anymore, you guys. So we saw a 4-3-3 today. We saw guys like Humphreys, very talented defender with 2 feet playing at the back, Gilchrist playing alongside, Brooks on the right hand side, a bit of experience in Jorginho and Cucurella, who I thought were decent in this game today as well too. And it was a nice opportunity to see your stars like Broja starting, OMARI HUTCHINSON finally getting game time down that right hand side, Wesbter and Lewis Hall playing in midfield as well too. And I thought a lot of times these guys were looking quite tidy and nice on the ball. So that's how we started off. If there was one maybe positive, I would say, in terms of the tactics, I would say that our pressing was a lot more aggressive and a lot more cohesive. There was times where I was seeing the defenders doing what Graham Potter wants his defenders to do. If one of the Aston Villa forwards is dropping into midfield, we are aggressive. Follow him into midfield and win that ball, because if we're pressing high up, we need to make sure that we keep the ball in our opponent's half. And I saw that quite a few times, and I saw us getting involved in a lot of challenges and tackles. And, if we can introduce that type of pressing cohesion to the first team, then I think we'll look even better than what we did before the World Cup took place. So that's an idea of how the team was. Let me end things before I move on to discussing players. In terms of how we played, a lot of times we looked to actually play down the wide areas. So you'd have like your Hutchinson hugging the pitch on the right hand side. You know, he was playing off the shoulder of Digne. You'd have like Rankin when he came on playing on the opposite flank. Two wingers high and wide either side with like the midfield players and the box-to-box guys like Lewis Hall and Charlie Webster in the inner channels. And for me, it's more of like a different way of playing that we haven't really tended to see. And I think you can only really play like that when you have wingers that can take their man on and are comfortable receiving wide in those areas. So that's a brief understanding of like how the team actually played and what the ideas were. I now want to discuss some of the players that stood out. I think one of those key players for me, the best player on the field, in my opinion, was none other than OMARI Hutchinson. Wow, does this guy look like a talent? He had an unreal effort in the first half where he receives the ball out wide on the right-hand side in space. He cuts inside, he beats one man. He cuts inside again with that composure to beat two. And then he just wraps his foot around the ball to produce this incredible like curling effort that just hits the woodwork. And you're just thinking, this is the type of player that this first team is missing out on. This is the type of player that creates space, that brings imagination, that adds something to the attack. I mean, you're seeing this guy's technique and skill, you know, just the intelligence behind everything. I need to calm down so I can just like properly communicate how he played. You know, when he's running with the ball's glued to his feet. You can see the technique, how he's dribbling with the instep of his foot. Always under control. And it's just like, because his first touch is that good, he can think of the better things. Like, okay, where do I play this pass now? What do I do with the ball instead? And we saw a lot of danger in terms of his creativity. I liked some of the crossing from set piece situations, from corners and from outside the box. A lot of nice swerve. I liked like the Hutchinson Do switch ball that he has in his game too, where he can cut inside and put like beautiful dip on that ball to like spread the play to the opposite flank. And I like the positions he takes up. I mean, OMARI Hutchinson is not just like a winger. He can play as an attacking midfield player too. So there were times where Hutchinson was receiving wide on the right-hand side. And there were other times, especially in the second half, where it felt like Potter gave him more creative license. He was allowed to roam more infield. He was receiving passes in the channels instead of out wide. He was then switching play to the left-hand side. He would even go to the left-hand side to link up with Rankin as well too. And it's just that type of ability to play between the lines on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, mixed alongside like superb close control and technique, you know, that composure, the ability to create and showing some goal effort as well too. I think for me, if this is the tester you give to Hutchinson to really determine whether he is ready to make his first team appearances, I think he passed with flying colours in this game today. I thought it was absolutely superb. And as I'm saying, he was the best player on the field today. So Hutchinson, Graham Potter, I need to see more of this kid because this boy looks like a sensational talent. Now moving on, let's discuss another point in the game today, and that is Armando Broja. Unfortunately, he picks up a pretty nasty collision, and unfortunately, we are now short a striker. It's not ideal. I think Aubameyang's form's been very patchy. I think in this game today, Aubameyang was kind of frustrating me with his inability to time his runs properly. He was regularly offside. And because we were playing more with wingers, especially in the second half, where we wanted to like play balls quickly and behind out wide to isolate the wingers, you kill what these guys can do if you're not going to time your runs properly to let them slot you in. So it's a shame that Broja, who was showing that endeavour to press from the front, picked up a bit of like a naive injury in my opinion. I was saying it on the stream, but I just feel like certain tackles you go for, you need to understand there's a very low probability that you're going to win the ball. And it's just like when you're coming in a very dangerous position from your side to try and win that, in a position where you don't really have to go for it like that. I just hope it's not going to be too mad, because I think Broja was starting to slowly get himself in the first team. And now we're in a situation where we are short a striker. And I'm going to say this just for the sake of the comments to share your thoughts and opinions. Would you guys even consider now signing Cristiano Ronaldo on a short-term deal till the end of the season, knowing that Broja could be out for a little bit? Let us know in the comment section. But moving on to other things we learned in the game today, I want to discuss some of the other impressive players. I think one that stood out today for me was Dion Rankin. You know, Rankin's a very interesting player. You know, this is a guy that can play on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. He can play as a wing-back, right-back, winger. And I just think these are the type of players that really improve the squads. Like, if he can play so many different roles, he is like that perfect versatile option to have in your squads. He's at a good age right now. He looked very impressive, the close control, and I was really liking some of the positions he was trying to find by using his pace. You know, he's not static, he's constantly moving. And the fact he can play on the left and the right equally and has that 1v1 threat, I thought he looked dangerous alongside Hutchinson playing as the wingers in the team today. Moving on to Lewis Hall playing in more of a midfield role. He had a great effort to potentially equalise the game. It was a nice flowing counter-attack move. You know, the pass is played back to find Lewis Hall from the left-hand side. He goes for a low-driven effort to the bottom right corner of the goal and it gets well saved. But one thing I really liked about Lewis Hall was that confidence want to play between the lines. And he has this really nice weight of pass to his game where he plays it with pace, but he plays it in a way where it's easy to control. I think little details like that, like a decent player, it's all about finding your man. The good player, it's about how you look to find him. And I think Lewis Hall is one of those guys. Like, I've always felt like Lewis Hall could be like our David Alaba in the sense of how he can play everywhere down the left-hand side and in midfield and plays with his head up. He looks to play positive and forward every single time. And he was very competitive in midfield, looking to try and like push us up the field. So yeah, he's another one to watch out for. And I think him and Hutchinson should definitely get more squad minutes as the second half of the season slowly approaches. A few more guys that look good though before I end things. I want to talk about Ben Elliott. Now, Ben Elliott has always been a very big talent at this club. Nice close control, very skillful, very techie style player. Injuries have just been a terrible thing that's been impacting his game and has like impacted a few of those key development years. But it's nice that he's back. It's nice that Graham Potter gave him like the final 20 minutes. You can see like how he looks to play, how he got his body in front of the ball, how he was looking to just, make things tick a bit in the final thirds, linking up between the midfield and the attack. And 20 years old right now, I hope he maintains his form and gets a loan spell at least in January. And let's see what happens with him after that. But of course, other guys, I thought Wesbter, he looked all right today. I would have preferred to see Wesbter receiving deeper to influence. He played more as like an attacking mid today. And I'm at a stage where I don't want to see any more of my midfield players playing as attacking mids. Like, use actual attacking mids or use wingers. Use these guys in positions deeper that they're better in. But he worked hard today. It was an alright game, but I've seen Wesbter play better. Casedei came on in the second half too. He linked up alongside Jorginho as pivots, and Casedei just looks like a very big boy, not going to lie. He had one nice run down the left-hand side where that's what he's about, that type of pace, that power. He can cover the grounds, and yeah, he looks quite confident as well. I hoped he would have got more minutes, but of course they have to be spread out equally across the team, you guys. And I guess for me, they're the ones that really stood out, and decent performances all around. I thought Humphreys showed some nice passing, Gilchrist put a few good blocks in, and defended well against counter attacks at times as well too. And I thought Cucurella and Jorginho, the seniors in this team today, they did nothing wrong. They did their jobs well, and were like a decent platform for the young players in the team. So still though, this wasn't a game that was full of shots and chances. It was a game that was about each team trying to win control against the other. There were nice moments of play from both teams, very good efforts from either ones. But for me, this wasn't a game about needing to win. This was a game which will give Graham Potter the opportunity now to really assess the players we have at the club already and to assess the players that can do something in the first team. And I think today, a few of these guys, like your Hutchinsons, your Lewis Halls, etc., and Dion Rankin, I'd say, definitely show that they could be interesting solutions for the squad. So, you guys on that note, I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.